As I said, poetic license means you have license to be as creative as you would like in all sorts of realms, and thank you very much for it. I really appreciate it. It's nice to have things that aren't just poems. And then another poem of mine is... It's nice to, thank you. If somebody comes in with music or whatever, it's always welcome. I was going... Yes. Yes.
I was just going to say, fun things to think about. I think he's a bit brutal, I don't know, I'm preaching at this end.
But they didn't actually do that.
But it's funny that they're talking about that.
Oh,
Well, he had just tried to rape the woman, so,
And you know, that's nothing. Just raping a woman, that's nothing. So don't worry about it. How did I say to the other women here? That's nothing at all. Don't worry about it. It's just a woman. Anyway, this is funny. Thank you very much. I was going to read 3 from yet another book because I published far too many books. And then we might, maybe, if you guys want, depending on the time left, we might have room for one poem round for the remainder of us here. We shall see. But yeah, I kind of go nuts at the end of the year because I've got a lot of collection books and annual books and things to read, to write and produce. And people are like, why aren't they out yet? And I'm like, Merry Christmas to you. I'm just trying to get work done. This is a Down in the Dirt collection book from the September to December 2024 issues. It is called Shattered Facades. Shattered Facades, Shattered Facades. Yeah. And I try to show it for a live feed, and it's kind of hard to see sometimes. But anywho, it's just a collection of the issues, and I was going to share 3 poems. I'm looking for ones that I haven't shared here before that I think they are all ones that also happen, yes, they also happen to be from, I'm pulling out everything I can from this book. They also happen to be the Cyberwit 2024 book, The Universe is in Your Hands. I guess I could talk about locations for them too. This one, this first one, I don't know if it would be from Paris or if it would be from Chicago, but you can decide. This first one that I'm going to share with you is titled, Because of a Fire. When we see a fire overtake an 850-year-old Notre Dame, a monument to religion, beauty, history, then wildfires engulf islands, ravage 250,000 acres annually. So are we shocked by the loss from fire, that primal silent killer? But we keep candles lit, hear the crackling campfire, feel the fireplace warmth, which reminds us how we still love fire so. Because if mass fire seems to mean death and destruction, maybe, say, after the 1871 Great Fire of Chicago that took the only city that I love, maybe that destruction can lead only to building something bigger, better, stronger, that made more sense. Even Chicago's underground subways are made from the post-Great Fire pedestrian underground walkways. And when I now walk in diverse cultural neighborhoods until I reach the lake, I turn to see the most beautiful skyline I've ever seen. And that's when it clicks. This frightening history of fire that scares some so. Well, afterwards, that's when people create something that seems so right. Because of a fire. Because of fire. That's what I said. I'm like, is it start in Paris? Is it about Chicago? I'm not sure. But I do have somebody from Texas here, and I got a fun one. And it is, I can't remember the park, but it is for Texas, and it is Retracing Steps Through History. When we were little, we learned how dinosaurs roamed this land so long ago in Earth's history. If we were lucky, we would go on a field trip to the Field Museum and see giant structures holding together the bones of a Tyrannosaur or even a T-Rex. As we got older, we learned more of the history of planet Earth, that a 6-mile-wide asteroid left the Chicxulub crater along Mexico into the Gulf, triggering mega earthquakes lasting for months, leaving iridium on the land and ash in the air, and leading to the eventual demise of the dinosaurs. But whether we are scientists or paleontologists or geologists or chemists, it doesn't matter when little kids want to play with toy dinosaurs, and a part of us remains a dinophile at heart. Is that why, when I read in the news that Texas droughts in 2023 led to even more dinosaur prints now discovered in Dinosaur Valley State Park, that I knew that I had to check them out for myself? Though knowing me and knowing how work will always get in the way, I'll only get around to visiting Dinosaur Valley State Park once the rains fell. But that's okay. We got our feet wet as we trounced from the petrified fossils to the next. Oh, wait, we didn't trounce. We delicately stepped for fear of slipping and dropping our huge cameras. But we soaked it all in as imagining and examining the footprints of creatures left here so long ago before us that you couldn't help but somehow try to connect the pieces of these long ago lives to your own. Until you then hear a man yelling at his dog to stop drinking the water out from those newly rained on tracks. Afterward, we looked at each other until I said, "But at least you can say your dog licked water out of petrified dinosaur tracks." And we laughed, and then both looked back at dinosaur tracks as we still continued to try to connect the pieces. I got you some dinosaur tracks. I'm trying to get the dinosaur tracks in there. It was a cool thing to do, and there were just so many of them all over the place. I know it's hard to check out, but if you actually had a copy of the book, you'd be able to see a better copy of it, but it's hard to see in the Zoom meetings and the live feeds, but I'm trying. But I'm going to do one more that I read for people for an art release, but I thought this was a cool piece. I hope you guys like it, and I have some Panamanian art that I'll try to show off while I'm reading the poem that was in the book, that's in Shattered Facades. But this piece is for Panama, and it's titled Culture Woven into Cloth. The old men would collect at the rec hall some nights to play pool at the pool table. Ibra would join them on some nights, but he would bring his own pool cue case, adorned with Panamanian art, before he would screw together the halves of his custom pool cue and let the games begin. Call him Ira, of course, but he was also Doc, serving in the U.S. Army as their doctor in Panama, as troops were stationed there for decades. Most who served won't speak of any atrocities they may have seen, but with Ira and his wife Betty, all you heard about was living around and learning from the Panama locals. Although the sexes were more segregated there than in the States, and I'll keep in mind that this was in the mid-1900s too, but fresh fruits and vegetables were so much more abundant there, and while appreciating space, there was still a deep attachment to nature. Betty would see these women diligently weaving thread and cloth into colorful, beautiful mola, handmade emblems depicting Mother Nature. I'll try to show off some Mother Nature emblems for you guys. I can kind of get it there. They're just gorgeous pieces of Panamanian art. It's hard to check out, but I'll see if I'll get another one for you. This art was scattered everywhere in their home, along with glassed in box-framed mounts of the largest insects I've ever seen in my life. But whenever either one of them talked about their lives in Panama, they only spoke of the real sense of peace and completeness they felt from the culture there. You did your work. You reveled in your space and your surroundings, in all the things around you that make you feel so complete. We all now worry about what we can do in this hectic lives and to find peace, and the more time passes, the more congested we become, until maybe, like Panama, who are already tapped into that whole Walden Throw culture of finding peace through nature. They've got such beauty all around them. They even weave this culture into their cloth art in flowers, fish, and colorful details of nature. For when you have this beautiful simplicity, what more do you need? I got one that's up here that's in my house framed. It's a really cool piece, sorry. But what more do you need, really, other than to count on Mother Nature to keep everything so serene? If you can't count on mankind not imposing their will, like building the Panama Canal in the first place. That's when nature strikes back, dropping rainfall in half over a year, bringing prolonged droughts that forces Panama to greatly reduce ships through this global Panamanian Canal. Because they had such water levels, they had to do this. The people of Panama literally needed water. But the world needs whatever they want to ship across that Panama Canal faster. So Panama, after a year, started lifting some shipping restrictions, but at a harrowing cost to marine life and their own access to drinking water. So, serene or not, whatever actions people may try to correct how they've changed what nature made, and sudden climate change seems to mess with humanity's plans, we all forget the unintended consequences of our actions, even in our actions of trying to correct our problems. This caused issues with the economy, but also environmental issues too, Panama. So let's work on what truly needs saving. Culture woven into cloth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm looking at the time. We have 10 minutes left, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I don't know if people want to run late or if everybody reads one poem and would run late if we do so. We're just stopping early now, but if anybody wants to do that, we can. So that is entirely up to you guys. What do you does anybody want to throw in one poem round robin again, or do you want to? She says a thumbs up. We've got one thumbs up. Are there any more thumbs uppers? We got 2 thumbs up. You're up for it? Yeah, right. Awesome sauce. That means, David, you would be reading next. Pick a poem because it will be double plus cool. I'm sure of it. And when I look at the list, you probably know our order. Trevor is left, but then we've got Susan and Richard and Lorna. So anywho, I'm going to quiet myself and everybody get ready for your one poem and take it away. Zoom guest.